With Evan Brand. Really excited today. We're going to have a nice conversation on how to get your energy back post-infection. This is a topic that we've been getting a lot from our patients. And again, a lot of our inspired podcasts and videos come from real life clinical work with patients. So we're excited to bring you the real life actionable information here to improve your health. Evan, how are we doing today, man? What's cooking?
Hey, doing pretty well. Cooked some bacon this morning, and that was about it with some organic blueberries. And so I'm feeling good. My brain is clear, and look forward to helping people on this energy conversation. You know, so many people have chronic fatigue post-infection, and they're not fully bouncing back. And so I think that there are some easy low-hanging fruit strategies that we can talk about, but I'm just going to jump straight to the big smoking gun, which is looking at your mitochondria. We're seeing a lot of issues with mitochondrial dysfunction or mitochondrial damage. I'm also seeing issues with neurotransmitters. So I think if you were to pick one and only one functional medicine test to look at to investigate yourself after this infection and fatigue, it would be the organic acids, because you can get a great window into not only your gut health. We know that with infections, it does damage the gut. We know that there are ACE2 receptors in the gut. So people that are ending up with irritable bowel or diarrhea or other problems during and post-infection, we can look at that. Now, a stool might be smart too, but if you had to start with only one thing, maybe the window into your gut via urine organic acids would be good enough. But more importantly, I want to see what the heck's going on with mitochondria and what kind of damage do we have? Because once you have the data, then you can put together a protocol to fix it.
100% agree. 100% agree. So we know with chronic inflammation, especially like post-viral inflammation, we know one of the biggest drivers is going to be oxidative stress, right? So oxidation is nothing more than your body losing electrons, right? And one of the big things that helps oxidation within any type of infection, ideally we're doing these things to mitigate all of the oxidative stress that's happening at the mitochondrial level. But simple low-hanging fruit out of the gates is going to be glutathione, vitamin C, because these are really powerful antioxidants. Vitamin D even kind of fits in that category, right? Your big antioxidants are A, D, E, K. Or I'm sorry, no, those are your fat soluble vitamins. But E is going to be an antioxidant. A is going to be an antioxidant, right? I would even say E and K would be for sure. But your B and C are going to be your water soluble, kind of more antioxidants for sure. But the big things that are going to plug in, post viral oxidative stress and or is glutathione and vitamin C out of the gates. And then we can also look at low-hanging fruit on the mitochondrial side, which plugs into the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain, is going to be B1, which is thiamine. Now, I would say B vitamins as a whole is great, but B1 has a major, major role. And I'd even say B5 as well, pantothenic acid. So you have thiamine B1, right? You have riboflavin B2, you have niacin B3, pantothenic acid B5, pyridoxine, B6, biotin, B7, folate, B9. B12 is your methylcobalamin or hydroxyl or adenosine. And so we're talking B1 and B5 are going to be big when it comes to post-viral fatigue. Those are really, really important nutrients that we can add in out of the gates. And why? It's all of this oxidative stress that's happening when this infection is present. And so the more you can do things like hydrate, keep inflammatory foods down, like the excess omega-6 fatty acids, keep the carbohydrate and the sugar in check, right? That's going to play a major, major role in not adding fuel to the fire, if you will, as well.
Yeah, and you can do oral glutathione. So we have a combination product, which is a S-acetylated glutathione along with N-acetylcysteine. So you can give your body the nutrients to make more. You can give the precursors, but then you can also take just straight glutathione. There are some liposomal versions. There's reduced glutathione. There's nebulizer versions that you can take, so you can inhale glutathione. If you feel that there was some lung involvement, you may consider doing both. I personally did both. I did oral and I continue to do oral glutathione daily. And then also during the acute situation, nebulized glutathione with the silver. And then you mentioned the B vitamins, and you can measure all this, right? So that's the important thing is, you're shouting out all these different names, but people can look at this, right? We can look at this on organic acids. We can look at the various B6, B12. You can't look at every single nutrient in the body, but you can look at a ton of nutrients from one urine sample. So it's pretty awesome. And then vitamin C, believe it or not, we're seeing a lot of issues with viral infection and acute scurvy, which is pretty interesting. If you just put in some of this data and scurvy into the research, I guess it's due to the oxidative stress. It's happening quick. And every single person I'm seeing post-infection is showing low vitamin C. So we're just keeping people on 2 to 3 grams every day. And we're doing a powdered version with a mixed ascorbate. So you probably don't want to do just straight ascorbic acid. You probably want to do like a sodium ascorbate, magnesium ascorbate, if you can get some citrus bioflavonoids in there too, and just take it ongoing. Don't wait until you're sick. We, as a family, we just take vitamin C ongoing because we know it's important for the health of your capillaries and all that. Can you speak on that for a minute? Like vitamin C and skin and collagen. I mean, there's a role in other things. People think vitamin C immune, but there's other benefits to C, right?
Yeah, vitamin C plugs into making collagen, which is all the connective tissue for your skin, hair, cartilage. Vitamin C is really important for that. Vitamin C has a very similar molecular structure as glucose, right? Don't quote me, but it's similar to I think C6, H12, O6, or O8. It's right in that molecular area. Looks very similar. So what does that mean? That means vitamin C has a docking site on the macrophage that actually goes and gobbles up bacteria and potential viruses. And it's going to use that vitamin C that docks onto that macrophage to deal with the oxidation. So I kind of think of it as like a firefighter going into a house. And the vitamin C is like that firefighter bringing that hose to squelch that fire, to squelch it, right? That's kind of what I see vitamin C as, right? And it's almost like with the macrophage, it has a docking site, and that glucose can actually come in there because it looks very molecularly similar to vitamin C, and it can almost dock on that receptor site on that macrophage and take that vitamin C where to be using. It's almost like giving the firefighter a water hose, taking the water hose out and giving him a gas hose, and he doesn't even know it. It's almost like that. And that's why glucose and high levels of glucose, and when it comes to a lot of these post-viral illnesses, you're going to see people that have very high levels of blood sugar, insulin resistance, and even the extreme on the diabetes side are going to have most of the side effects and most of the issues, partly because of the oxidative stress, partly because of poor levels. When you have insulin resistance, that's going to affect oxygenation, right? Because you're not going to have good blood flow. And when you have poor blood flow and poor oxygenation, we need oxygen to plug into that mitochondria as well. It's part of, the key nutrients, right? We talked about B vitamins, B1, B5, very important to plug into the Krebs cycle. Well, guess what? When you have a high level of blood glucose and you're on that pre-diabetic to diabetic side, right? 110 to 126 mg per DL on the blood glucose side, your body has to process that. And if you just go pull up, mitochondria, Krebs cycle, and nutrients, right? You're going to see all the nutrients that are involved in that Krebs cycle to process that glucose. Because how it works in the Krebs cycle, everything gets funneled down to acetyl-CoA, right? So you have glucose comes to acetyl-CoA, fatty acids come to acetyl-CoA. They can also go this way into ketones. And then you have protein coming down to acetyl-CoA. This acetyl-CoA pumps around the Krebs cycle twice. And if you look, there's going to be nutrients that have to come in there to help that acetyl-CoA come around. And a lot of those nutrients are going to be B vitamins, magnesium, amino acids. And so if you're coming in with lots of glucose and you're not bringing in a lot of nutrients to funnel down to the acetyl-CoA side, you're going to run that Krebs cycle twice, and you're going to be using more B vitamins than you're coming in. So you can actually create a lot of nutrient deficiencies and oxidative stress when you consume a lot more glucose because it's a transaction fee for your body to process it energetically.
Nice, nice. That's a great way to put it. And the truth is, people are coming into this infection with nutrient deficiencies already due to bacterial overgrowth problems, candida problems, maybe post antibiotic therapy. They have issues with the gut now and they're not making enough of their nutrients in their gut. And so a lot of people will just depend on diet and they'll say, well, can I just get enough on diet? Can I just eat liver and grass-fed steak and all that and just get enough nutrients from that? And I'll say, look, I've tested, and I know you have too, over 1,000 people. And many of those people were already dialed in with their diet for years before they get to us. Paleo, carnivore, autoimmune paleo. We've had people that have been doing an incredible job with nutrient density, and they still show up with nutrient deficiencies. And so I would love if everyone could just eat their way out of this situation. But I just think with the modern stress that we're under, we're dumping a lot of those Bs. You're mentioning all these Bs that are fueling this cycle. We're so depleted and burned out emotionally, physically, chemically. We're exposed to toxins. We're just not living in paleo time. So paleo, you can't just like paleo your way out of this. And That's why I used to call my podcast years ago, Not Just Paleo. And then I got rid of
Yeah.
it and just call it Evan Brand now. But
Yeah.
that was my whole thought in the beginning, was like, man, if everybody could just eat their way out of this and get enough bees in the diet, then you and I wouldn't be needed.
100%. Let me just kind of break this down for people just so they can get a better understanding what's happening here. So when we have oxidative stress is we're losing electrons. What's the whole goal of the Krebs cycle? The whole goal of the Krebs cycle is essentially gather up electrons. Okay. So you have fats, like I mentioned before, they're all funneling down to acetyl-CoA. Carbohydrates, all funneling down to acetyl-CoA. Proteins, all funneling down to acetyl-CoA, right? And then you can see on the carbohydrate side, like I mentioned, look at a lot of the nutrients that are involved in funneling the carbohydrates down to acetyl-CoA. Different B vitamins, okay?
Zoom in some.
B1, B2, B3, magnesium, all play really important roles. And then look at the carbohydrates. Look at the amino acids that are involved. Cysteine, that's a major precursor for glutathione. Serine, really important for stress. Glycine, that's your major amino acid in collagen, right? This is why when you're stressed and you're sick, it's why your grandma tells you to have chicken soup, right? Especially with the whole bone in there, because you're getting a lot of these amino acids in a liquid form. So if your tummy's doesn't feel good and you're nauseous, right? Because the infections tend to really cause nausea because your energy is going to fighting an infection versus digestion. So it's trying to shut that down. That's why your grandma said chicken soup, right? Ideally, we keep the noodles out. Now, look at the fats, right? Look at where the fats can go. So the fats go down to acetyl-CoA, but it can also go and create these ketones, right? This is beta hydroxybutyrate. This is a ketone, okay? Now, really important here. So we have this acetyl-CoA, right? This is kind of our energy currency that everything gets converted from our three major macronutrients, fats, carbs, and proteins. And again, if you're listening on home, is a video version of this of me going through it. I know it's a little confusing, but I'm going to try to break it down. Acetyl-CoA comes around this citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. It's the same thing. It goes around twice, okay? And you can see GSH, that stands for glutathione. Fe stands for iron. So if you're a female and you're very low iron or you're anemic or vegetarian, vegan, that could be a problem.
So let me pause you there real quick, because I want to point out something. You're showing here on this cycle that you've got to have not only glutathione, but you've got to have iron. So you gave a shout out to the anemic women, and what I want to point out is that the women that came into this infection anemic, which is extremely common, women that have hormonal imbalances, it's an epidemic problem. So many women have heavy periods, or maybe post childbirth, their period was screwed up and they're having heavy menstruation. So they're coming into this anemic, or they're coming into this with low ferritin. And then that's compounded by maybe a mold exposure where now they have low glutathione levels. The way you're showing this cycle here, if you come in with low iron and low glutathione, you're in big trouble.
You're in big trouble. And women are more predisposed because if they have hormonal imbalances, guess what happens to their period? They get heavier period, they're going to just lose that iron. Now, men on the other side, men have it, they can have increased iron. They can cause oxidative stress because iron is like, can be like gasoline on the fire if it does get too high, right? But you can see glutathione, iron, you can see B vitamins, you can see magnesium, you can even see manganese here, and you can see different B vitamins. And what they do is you're creating NAD and FADH, and they're grabbing hydrogen, they're grabbing electrons, okay? So it typically comes around here twice, and you get usually 2 NADHs and 1 FADH2 per cycle. And then essentially all of these things will jump into the electron transport chain next, if I could find that section here. But the electron transport chain is the next big step where that kind of gathers nutrients. But for today's talk, this is really the most important thing. And then just to kind of highlight, you can see some of these toxins over here that come in, right? You can see fluoride, HGs, mercury, AS is going to be arsenic, AL is going to be aluminum. So you can see some of these toxins, how they can kind of come in there and sabotage some of these things. And just to kind of highlight one thing, this is an article we saw here, mitochondria and microbiota dysfunction with post-viral issues. You can see how the gut microbiome also plays a certain role. And why is that? Well, I think because 80% of the immune system is in the gut. And so if you have a pathogenic or dysbiotic microbiome, it's going to affect toxins being produced, right? It's going to put you right here in a hyperinflammatory state, right? We already have a lot more cytokines being produced if we have an illness. And so we have to be able to calm down our immune system's inflammation to what's happening from an immune stress standpoint. And so the microbiome plays a big role. Iron dysregulation, reactive oxygen species, right? And so vitamin C plays a major role here. Glutathione plays a major role there as well.
Yeah,
And
a
it
couple
talks
more
about,
sentences down
yeah,
right there. Look at that one. The mitochondrial, the heightened inflammatory oxidative state may lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. And so this is what we're seeing on paper. We're seeing this in the stool test. We're seeing this in the organic acid test, this issue with the gut and with the mitochondria.
yeah, it talks about platelet damage too, which is important because what do platelets do? Those are your clotting factors. And so if we can have increased coagulation cascades, that just means more clotting, right? And you could see more clotting events, more thrombosis. That's a blood clot, right? And so you can see furthermore, mitochondrial oxidative stress may contribute to microbiota dysbiosis, altering coagulation and fueling inflammatory oxidative response, leading to vicious cycles of events. So this is really important. And so things that we can do to be on top of the fatigue is going to be the same things that we can do to help mitigate a lot of the inflammation. That's going to be keeping our blood sugar in check, adding in some of these additional B vitamins, adding in anti-inflammatory anticoagulants. What do those look like? That could be ginger. That could be curcumin, which have anti-inflammatory and anticoagulation effects. That could be adding some extra cod liver oil that has more vitamin A in it, which is a really powerful antioxidant, but it also has natural blood thinning aspects because of the extra omega-3s in there. So there's different things that we can do to really help reduce a lot of that inflammation. Any comments on that, Evan?
Yeah, and then on the more intense side of supporting hypercoagulability, lumbrokinase is going to be your
Yep.
most powerful. That's your earthworm-based enzyme, which is just a cool thing. Natto, there's also serrapeptidase. So there are other enzymes that you can use, and I personally take those. I take lumbrokinase 1 per day, just ongoing, and it's been very helpful. I also did a podcast with Dr. Thomas Levy all about vitamin C IV, and he's got some dark field microscopy photos of people that were having blood clotting issues, and the vitamin C along with ozone in IV was like a game changer. And vitamin C can help energy too. So I don't want to get too deep in the rabbit hole of blood clots, but we'll just say that the vitamin C is helpful for energy also.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Want to just show you guys one other journal article here: role of mitochondrial oxidative stress and antioxidants when it comes to chronic fatigue. And so one kind of thing here, it just talks about the known role of oxidative stress and how it can relate to essentially fatigue, as well as potential specific therapeutic treatments for the mitochondria. So that's really powerful. And some of the big things they're going to talk about are the vitamin C, talk about B vitamins, talk about glutathione, and then also some of the more natural anti-inflammatory things. But each study is going to focus on a couple of their major things. But people in the literature are looking at these things. It is real, and we're seeing it in our patients, and we're trying to apply some of these things to get people's health back.
Yeah. So the way you look at this is, what can you do to protect against oxidative stress? We covered that, glutathione. What can we do to help support the Krebs cycle? We talked about the B vitamins. You've also got just things that are going to help the mitochondria in general, like CoQ10. And then also you can do things like PQQ, and there's other nutrients that actually will create what's called mitochondrial biogenesis, where you can literally make new mitochondria. And so I don't think it's in that paper. It does mention CoQ10 there.
Well,
But
right here in the
PQQ,
mitochondria, there are enzymes and coenzymes such as vitamin E, CoQ10 to remove ROS, that's reactive oxygen species, to prevent DNA damage. So these are really powerful things that we can add in. For example, with low CoQ10, they'll see increase in damage. So CoQ10, PQQ, pyroquinoquinolone, right? Vitamin E. And then, we try to give CoQ10 with vitamin E together for that same reason, to prevent a lot of the oxidative stress while fueling the mitochondria. Any other comments on that?
yeah, look at the next part there too, talking about exercise. People that come in with chronic fatigue and how they're having an increased oxidative stress after exercise. And that's a problem that we're seeing a lot too, is people that now are having post-exertional fatigue, people that are crashing, even athletes that were really high-performing people that now their performance is just in the tank. And a lot of that is just this ongoing oxidative stress, mitochondrial damage that's not been supported. And you can't just exercise your way out of this. And I get kind of annoyed when I see like those motivational videos of people that are real sweaty, like, you just need to suck it up. Pain is weakness leaving the body. It's like, no, you're wrong. You got to fix the mitochondrial damage. I hate those like rah videos, because it's ignoring all the nutrients. That video really needs to be talking about, hey, get your glutathione up, get your ribose up, get your CoQ10 up. Come on, people. Like, that's what it
Yep.
needs to say.
Yeah, and this is a similar marker that we use on the organic acid test. The one that we use is 8-hydroxy-2-deoxyguanosine. This is very, very similar to that. But this is a marker for oxidative stress. So we'll actually use this same marker on a mitochondrial test on the organic acid. So we'll look at some of these things to get a window of how stressed these pathways are. So that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, ribose is amazing. Carnitine is amazing. Acetyl L-carnitine is amazing. Also, let's go up a little bit. I like that picture. There was a neurotransmitter picture there that you had. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit because it's not directly going to be a mitochondrial support. Yeah, right there. But I think that's cool to point out too, which is that if we are coming in with nutrients like phenylalanine or tyrosine, eventually some of that may convert over to your neurotransmitters, but then also your adrenal hormones like epinephrine. And I think a lot of people, and I know you see this too, a lot of people are showing up with just low brain chemistry across the board. And so I'm thinking out loud with you that like the real magic remedy is the mitochondrial support plus throwing in some of these neurotransmitter supports as well.
Well, and that's why we talked about B vitamins, and I kind of went through the gamut. Look how important B6 is in regarding the synthesis of tryptophan to serotonin. Really important. So you can see how B6 deficiency is really important in this process to convert this inflammatory product here, quinolinic acid, back to tryptophan. It needs B6. Or to avoid that whole thing, it needs B6. So that's really important. So B6 is really important for synthesis of amino acid tryptophan to serotonin. So very important.
And so vegetarians, vegans, obviously you're going to be at an increased risk of issues and your recovery is not going to be as good as someone who's getting these good animal proteins because you're going to be getting adequate tryptophan and other nutrients from your animal-based products. So even if we could get these people on eggs, if we could get these people on organ capsules, if we could get these people on even like a protein, like I've got one we call carnivore collagen, which is like a beef peptide. I mean, something you got to supplement at some level if you're not eating those foods. So please, if you're a vegetarian, vegan, and you're exhausted, then look at some of this, and hopefully we can convince you to change and improve your diet a bit.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I think that's really important. I want to see if there's anything else here I want to highlight. No, I think that's enough. That's powerful enough. Anything else you wanted to highlight there?
Well, we hit the urine, we hit the stool, looking at the gut. You showed the study about the gut changing. We've seen that. I mean, you and I were talking about that in March of 2020. I mean, that was almost 2 years ago. We were talking about the gut being affected. And so obviously our message is the same that it's always been is get your stool looked at so we can see what kind of dysbiosis do you have going on. Because if you're taking all these supplements or you're doing all these good foods, but you've got malabsorption or you've got gut inflammation, you're not going to, people say you are what you eat, but you really are what you digest from what you eat. So if you have all these other issues in your gut, the grass-fed steak is not going to be as valuable to you. Now, I'm not saying stop eating it. I'm saying still eat it, but we've got to improve the digestion and assimilation of that.
110%. And one thing here, I just want to highlight here, just to kind of this article, it's talking about mitochondrial function and infections in the gut, because we're talking about mitochondrial and energy post illness. That could be a viral illness. It could also be a gut illness, right? Because it's talking right here, even virus have dedicated virulence factors and talks about downstream of an infection. It's fascinating that a plethora of immune responses, but be it against viruses, bacteria, or LPS. LPS is lipopolysaccharides or endotoxin. This can come from H. pylori. This can come from SIBO or dysbiotic bacteria. And they strongly impact the mitochondria, which is really, really important because they're toxic. They kind of throw a monkey wrench in how the FADH and the NAD is kind of moving around the Krebs cycle, collecting hydrogens and then bringing it into the electron transport chain. And it talks about governed by the mitochondria, can be translated into active therapeutics to boost immunity against pathogens to over immune responses under control in the case of inflammatory disorders. So essentially, the more you have these infections there, the more inflammation your immune system creates. The more inflammation your immune system creates, that can actually impact your mitochondria. Again, when you have a lot of these illnesses, it's not just the stress from the illness, it's the immune response from your own immune system that creates inflammation that can actually disrupt your energy pathway. So sometimes you're just fighting against yourself. And so using nutrients to help modulate the immune response, i.e. glutathione, vitamin D, vitamin C, right? Really important nutrients there. I'd also say you can do things like curcumin or resveratrol as well, can have immune modulating effects. These are powerful. So It's good to kind of get your immune system in check. Most people that are having longer term, we call it kind of long haulers type issue, it's typically their immune system has over responded and it's just creating so much inflammation. So here, this illness, they're no longer testing positive for whatever this illness is, and they're prolonged 2-3 months out, and they're feeling like crap still. It's because they really didn't get their immune system's inflammatory cascade in check afterwards.
Yeah, well said. So, a couple comments. Number one, you can improve your energy by simply fixing your gut. And that's exactly what that data is showing. And that's exactly what you and I have seen and done clinically hundreds and hundreds of times. People that were exhausted coming in, we give them a gut protocol, sometimes not even giving them energy supplements because on paper they look good. And all of a sudden their energy level doubles. And all we did is fix their gut. So, that's number one comment. And then the number two comment is that people need to stop waiting for some illness like this to take them down before they take this stuff serious. I mean, you and I are all about preventative approaches, meaning getting your mitochondria, your gut, your brain chemistry, getting all that stuff optimized now so that you're a warrior on a daily basis. So that when you do come across something like this, and there probably will be more things like this that you do get exposed to, you're ready and you're able to handle it. And you're not coming in so sick and looking for this emergency therapy at the end stage. It's some cases it's too late. I think a lot of times you can turn it around, but you should have been working on your health years ago before you got to this stage.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, anytime you have some type of illness coming up, the more you can be on top of a lot of these key immune modulating anti-inflammatory nutrients ahead of time and or during versus just coming in at the end when the inflammation's super high. It's like coming in when the fire is a little baby fire and knocking it out versus having a full 5 alarm fire and trying to stop it, right? That's kind of the analogy. So I always recommend telling people have a couple of nutrients. You may not be taking it every day, but they in your medicine cabinet is kind of like a last ditch kind of effort to kind of come in there if you start to feel a little bit ill. So in my line, we have Immuno Supreme, which is nice because you have some green tea in there, you have some echinacea, you have some medicinal mushrooms, you have some antioxidants and some immune modulators. That's kind of cool. Have that in your medicine cabinet. You start to feel the tiniest thing. Start taking that to get that immune system. Obviously, you can ratchet up vitamin D, vitamin C. These are easy first line things. If you have any NAC or glutathione, we can also ratchet that up. These are easy things that we can do to kind of take charge of our health and prevent our immune system from throwing us off.
Yep, well said. And if you need help clinically, we do offer one-on-one consults around the world with people. So we're very blessed to be able to help so many people by getting the proper testing done, making the proper protocols to get you better. So if you don't test, you've guessed, you got to see what you're up against first. Look at your Bs, look at your gut. Once we get the data, we can help you more accurately, and you're going to save a lot more money, a lot more time, and a lot more suffering. And you're going to get out of the dumps, out of the trenches, out of the depths of hell, depression, whatever you're dealing with. You're going to get out of that faster if you're using clinical data and you have a tour guide to your body. So if you need help clinically, you can reach out to Dr. J at justinhealth.com for consults worldwide, or me, Evan Brand, at evanbrand.com. And we're here for you guys. So we look forward to helping you out.
100%. I appreciate it. Yeah. Anyone that wants to reach out, Evan already gave you the links. Really appreciate it. Comments down below. Really appreciate your feedback on that. And also, we put links down below with some products that we chatted about. We have different ones that we recommend in our line. Just whatever you go, make sure you get them from a professional grade company because raw material does matter in the supplement world. You can buy, the equivalent of the grass-fed steak from the local farmer, or you can get it from McDonald's, right? And so we want to get the high-quality raw material that's tested to make sure there's no impurities, and just the building blocks are excellent. Evan, excellent chatting with you, man. Really appreciate it. Guys, have an awesome week, and we'll talk soon. Take care, y'all.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.